Yo, what's up guys? It's Elliot from Crush.
This video is for all the people who've been asking for a tutorial on how to play the song Toast. People were asking for tabs, and I feel like this song structurally is a bit too long and complicated to tab out in a way that felt intuitive, and I figured that it would take me just as much time to just make a tutorial video for the people who were the diehards who really wanted to learn it, and it would probably come across a lot easier. I like to think of the song really as just being like two parts. You know, like there's sort of the A sequence, which is more mellow, kind of like psyche, and then the B section, which is like the Black Sabbath type jam, which is like up tempo, and lots of different power chords and licks that are going on there. The first section really is just built around like one chord shape, which all takes place with a single posture that the left hand will take. So we're just going to start off by placing our ring finger on the 5th fret of the low E, our index finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, our pinky on the 5th fret of the D string, and then lastly we're going to put our middle finger on the 4th fret of the G string. So that shape is going to look like this. So that's ring finger on the 5th fret of the E, index finger on the 3rd fret of the A, pinky on the 5th fret of the D, and the middle finger on the 4th fret of the G string. So that's what those strikes are. So you're going to take that shape and then you're going to play all 6 strings. And you can soak it in some delay, something like that. But the whole point is to maintain that shape with your hand. The next time or way that you're going to incorporate that shape is in the second verse of that opening segment when you're playing. So that's just alternating E string, D string, A string, B string open, or the 4th fret of that G string. Because you remember the 4th fret of the G string and that open B are the same note. We're in standard tuning, so that those are the same. So you can just pick through that low E, D, A, G string, or open B string. And then you can strike all the 6 strings. So I'll demonstrate that playing along here.
Ain't it hard for me to stay? It's looking like someone's gonna give me a lesson in ambient distress. The man or the monolith, an old poster of that band Kiss. Baby, you're scaring me to death.
So now our next segment is going to be what we're going to call the chorus for the A section. So we're going to think of like the A section as the slower, more sparse segment. And the chorus is going to be when Owen is singing like, "But I like to die in a world that fits me right," or whatever the lyric is. Honestly, we haven't played this song in a long time. I don't even think the person who requested this tab has ever seen it live, so I was like, damn, that's a deep cut to pull, but we're gonna move up the register. So like so far we've just been playing everything in this lower portion of the neck. We're gonna slide way up and put our pinky on the 12th fret of the high E. Then we're gonna bar our index finger on the 10th fret of the B and G string. So we're gonna play this descending arpeggio. And the reason that we're gonna use our index finger is because then we're gonna open up to have the pinky on the high 12th fret of that E string, the middle finger on the 10th fret, and the index finger on the 9th fret. So we're gonna go from this barred shape, opening up to that, which is how you get this movement down. So that's a very subtle movement, but when you incorporate the bass underneath it, it creates this really nice harmonic shift that you can hear right here as I play along.
But I'd like to die in a world that fits me the feelings I have for this softly. Yeah, it's okay, alright, I guess. A man and his compliments, and all his white picket fence. Baby, it's scaring me to death. Wasting hours. Wasting
Okay, so before we get into this B section of the tune, I just want to say, like, I'm going to cover a bunch of info on this right now so that there can just be a playthrough of it and you're not going to have to be, like, starting and stopping, okay? So I think, like, the key thing to remember here is that there's a bunch of different licks that happen throughout this segment, some that are paired with the bass and some that are not. So I'm gonna go over the chord structure first, and then we're gonna go over the licks. But if you're looking to just get a basic playthrough of this, don't feel like you have to copy every lick note for note. But if you want to implement them, you can, and I'll equip you with that information. All right, so the first thing is the entire rhythm guitar part of this is really just power chords. Super, super easy. Okay, we're gonna just play an A power chord and a C power chord. You can be pretty messy with it. I'm also kind of like doubling the landing point when you reset on the A. So what I mean by that is, like, I'm playing A, and then after that C power chord, I go back to that A coming off of the C before I get back to the whole chord. So I'm just playing A, C, C, open A string, and then that A power chord. So in total. The chorus of this B section, so we're going to call that the verse. The chorus is D power chord, so 5th fret of the A string, and 7th fret of the D and the G, and a B flat. 1st fret of the A with the 3rd and third fret of the D and the G string above it. So it's going to be like, oh, you know I can't stop to look at myself. Okay, so that's the entire structure for this back half, okay? So we have the first portion where the lyric is like, the river's dry in Colorado. And then there's, oh, you know I can't stop to look at myself. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's the duality of that section, okay? Now, what we're gonna see is that every single turnaround, so every time that it's gonna reset in the verse, there's a little bit of a lick. So like coming in off the top, it's gonna be... So this is like a pentatonic shape. We're gonna be playing right down through this box. 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5. Okay, so for those of you that know that shape, easy as pie. For those of you that don't, we're going to be playing 5th fret and 3rd fret of the high E and the B string, 5th fret and 2nd fret of that G string, and then the 5th fret of the D string. I'm playing it all just like index and ring finger. I guess you could, in theory, spread out, but it feels like a pain in the ass to do that. Okay, cool. Then we have the recurring, just that bend right up there on that 12th fret. You can just make it really greasy. So it's like reaching for that, kind of like Had It. Then there's the other lick that follows the bass, moving up. So that's like hammer-ons moving 3, 5, 3, 5, sliding to 7, and then lastly doing another hammer-on there, 5th fret to 7th fret. Just moving right through here. 3, 5, 3, 5, 7, 5, 7. The next thing is the solo. Oh no, there's one more lick. It's so it's just 3, 5, 3, 5 on the B string. I think it's like, who are you to pick your prophets, and who am I to disagree? Now you guys can hear why Owen's the lead singer. I'm not hitting that shit right. The solo, this shit is fucking difficult, let's be real. So we're gonna stretch quite wide. Pinky on the 7th fret, and the index on the 3rd. Because we have to be able to move down. 7, 3, 5, 3. So that's that first move. And then it's 5th fret B, 3rd fret B. 5th fret G, 3rd fret B, 5th fret B, and then that semitonal bend. That's the solo, is just that lick repeating. Alright, this is the back half of Toast in its entirety. Let's see if I can hit this. So just remember, A and C power chord and D and B flat. Alright, there it is. If you have any questions, drop a comment, DM me on the Discord, whatever. I hope this was helpful. And yeah, peace and love. Later.